Have you ever hesitated to use urgency or scarcity in your marketing because it felt manipulative, but then wondered if that's the reason why people aren't buying? Today, we're going to talk about how to use psychological buying triggers the ethical way so your messaging supports your audience instead of pressuring them into a yes. Welcome to Seven Figure Copy, the show where I teach you how to create powerful strategic messaging so you can attract high-paying clients and scale your business to the next level with ease. I'm Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, and this podcast is for ambitious, value-driven female entrepreneurs like you who are ready to scale from 6 to 7 figures without sacrificing what matters most: your values, your time, and your family. In each episode, we'll dive into the art of crafting persuasive words for high-converting websites and sales pages, and you'll learn strategic copy techniques so you attract premium clients and boost your revenue. This podcast was created to help you tackle the challenges of balancing family life and business growth as you take your business to the next level. If you're ready to add a trusted partner to your team, making sure your message is compelling, consistent, and impactful, then you're in the right place. Hey there, and welcome back to Seven Figure Copy. I'm your host, Gina Whitehouse. I'm your go-to conversion copywriter. And if you're new here, I help entrepreneurs and business owners scale their sales with copy that feels good to send and gets people to say yes. And today's episode is the perfect follow-up to last week's conversation with Jan Ditchfield. Last week, we talked about ethical selling, we talked about building trust, and why your copy should never feel like a bait and switch. So today, I want to show you how to actually do that using psychological triggers that nudge people toward action without manipulating them. All right, let's start here with this. Most of your audience wants to say yes. They're looking for a reason to believe your offer is right for them. But if your copy only explains the offer and doesn't guide them towards the action using proven principles of human behavior, then you might be making their decision harder and not easier. What I want you to think here is that you're not going to push them. All right. We're not pushing people into a yes. We are instead supporting the buying process. And the key is to do this ethically. Here's the foundation that I want you to remember. Ethical sales is rooted in honesty, transparency, and integrity. So every time one of these is abused, even just a little bit, people lose trust. They don't lose trust just in your brand, but they also lose trust in business as a whole. Right? And in today's market, trust is everything. And I don't want to be that person. And I don't want you to be that person that is contributing right now to this trust recession we have. So remember, ethical sales is rooted in honesty, transparency, and integrity. And let's look at some examples of that. Right now, I'm going to break down 2 of the most common buying triggers. And those are urgency and scarcity. So the first trigger we're going to talk about is urgency. Now, urgency taps into timing and it motivates people to act now instead of later. But the manipulative side of this is to fake it. And we don't want to do fake urgency. We don't want to use fake urgency, okay? Using fake urgency is unethical. So let me give you an example of this. An example of this would be, let's say you have a group program and you write either in your emails or in your sales page, it says, doors closed tonight at midnight. The unethical part of that would be when they actually don't close at midnight. And let's say your funnel runs every week. You're trying to get people into this program or to buy this product, whatever it is, every week. And on your sales page or in the emails that are going out to those who are interested, it says that doors close tonight at midnight when they actually don't. I know that is such an obvious example, but unfortunately people do this. That is an example of unethical sales triggers or an unethical way to use a psychological trigger, right? Because we're not here to push people into our programs or buying our products or services. We are here to support them in the buying process so that they can make the best decision for themselves, not for us, but for them. So here are some ethical examples. Here would be the opposite of what I just gave you, okay? An ethical example would be, this bonus expires Friday at midnight, and after that, it's gone. So a lot of times when I'm running sales pages for my clients, and let's say this is a client who is opening up a group program. Let's say the cart opens on Monday and it closes on Friday. They may have what we would call a bonus, okay? A bonus that only shows up on Monday. And basically, we're using urgency here to basically say, This bonus is going to end tonight at midnight. And the purpose of that is to get people into the program right away, right? This client of mine, let's say she doesn't want people waiting until the last minute to buy, right? We want to get people into that program as soon as we can. So we use this bonus by saying it's going to end tonight at midnight to get them to make a quicker decision instead of thinking about it for 5 days. So when we use this bonus ethically, and this use of urgency here ethically, it's real, right? It's real. Like, we're going to really take away that bonus at midnight. Okay. So we have this time-bound urgency that's based on something that will actually change. Okay. I'm going to be a little open right now and tell you one of my pet peeves. A pet peeve of mine is when somebody actually brings back that bonus that they say on Monday that's going to end, when they bring it back right as the cart closes on Friday. I've seen this happen, and every time it does, it gives me a bad taste in my mouth about that person, because to me, that person's lying. I'm like, if you said you were going to close it on Monday night and then it's gone, and then 4 days go by, and now it's Friday and it's the last day to register for that group program. And suddenly the bonus comes up. It's available for everyone again. I've seen this happen. I personally don't like it. I don't like to work with people who do that. And so I'm just going to say right now, don't be that person. Let's ethically use urgency in the right way. Okay. Here's another example for a more product-based business. Okay. It may say something like on the sales page, the order page, it says, order by Wednesday to receive your limited edition gift set before the holidays. We've all seen this used, especially the holidays are right around the corner. We're entering fall now of 2025. So we're going to see a lot of this. Okay. We can ethically use urgency in this way, because if you really say order by Wednesday, receive your limited edition gift set, and it's taken like Wednesday comes and then it's done and you can't get it anymore, then you have used urgency in an ethical way. Okay. So that's one way you can use it for a product-based business. Let's look at an example for a service-based business. Let's say, we'll just use me as an example. Let's say you come to me, or let's say I put it out there on social media and I say, I'm booking copy projects through October now. If you want to launch your copy, or if you want your launch copy done by Q4, now is the time to reach out to me. Okay, so I'm just being truthful here. I'm not even using urgency so much as like a tactic, but I'm just being truthful, and I'm saying, hey, I'm booking projects right now through October. If you want your launch copy done by the end of Q4, right now is the time to reach out to me. You see, when urgency is truthful and it's tied to value or like logistics, like the one I just gave you about, hey, if you need your copy by the end of Q4, you better contact me now, right? That's a logistic example. When it's used truthful, it helps the right people make timely decisions, right? Timely decisions that are right for them. All right. Next, let's talk about the second trigger, which is scarcity. So scarcity is all about limited availability, and it adds weight to a decision by showing that not everyone can get in, or not everyone can get into that group program, or not everyone can get into that one-on-one coaching program with you, or not everyone can buy that product because you only have a limited amount available. So here's an unethical example of using scarcity. It's when you say, there are only 3 spots left, when your cart actually has an unlimited amount of digital product access. Okay, so think of, you go online and you go to, let's say it's in like an evergreen digital product, and it's something that you really can get all year long, but it says 3 spots left. Like, that doesn't even match, right? It doesn't even make sense. So I guess the point I'm trying to say is, if you're going to say that 3 spots are left, let's really mean it and be truthful about saying that 3 spots are left in your program. Unfortunately, people are saying these things, but that's not the truth. So let's look at the ethical example here. This is when someone says, we're only accepting 10 clients this round to ensure personalized support. So For that person, let's say they're only taking 10 clients, or they might have a group program and they only actually have the capacity to give really good personalized support to only 10 people. That is totally valid. That's how things should be approached, shouldn't they? I have a client where she only opens up her group program to 20 people right now because she knows that that's all she can give. Could she open it up to more and probably make more money? She probably could, but she knows her own limits and she wants to give the best of herself to her clients. So she only accepts a certain amount of people. So this is an example of how to ethically say, hey, I'm only taking 10 clients, or hey, I'm only opening up my group program to this many. All right. The limit is real. And the reason you're doing this, it's rooted in quality, the quality that you want to give to those people. Here's an example for a product-based business. This one's rooted in truth, and it's rooted into like a concrete fact. Okay. Let's say there's a product and gosh, let me think. Maybe it's a makeup palette. Okay. It's a palette of different eyeshadows. And the company says that this palette is a limited edition and we only produce 200 units and we won't restock. This is perfectly fine to say. It becomes unethical later on if they actually have more units or they actually are restocking and then it comes out again, you know? But of course, there's always those situations, right, where we say, oh, we won't restock. And then maybe 6 months later go by and you're like, oh, I want to bring that product back. When you bring that product back, you can say even, hey, we said we weren't restocking this, but we've had so many people reach out to us between then and now that we've decided to put in another order and I'll have another 500 units ready for you next month, right? So I think with all these examples, the common denominator here is that it's all rooted in truth. Okay, here's the last ethical example, and this is for a service-based business. This person says, I only take 2 VIP days per month so I can give each client my full focus. What I love about this is when she says, I can only give, basically 2 VIP days out each month so that I can give each client my full focus. Like, this is customer centric. It's not even so much about her. It's about saying to those clients that I can only give my focus to 2 people per month. So here's how many I can only take. I only have availability in my calendar for 2 VIP days. The opposite unethical example of this would be if someone said that, but they really opened it up to 5. So they just keep saying, oh, I only have two VIP days left this month. And they keep saying that all month, and they actually book in 5, right? So this statement wouldn't have been rooted in truth. If you've ever thought, I know my offer helps people, but I'm not sure if my sales page is motivating people to buy, I want you to know right now that you are not alone. Let's get you from second-guessing every word to selling your service, product, or program with confidence and clarity ASAP. Today, I'm inviting you to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me to find out whether you need a strategic copy audit of your existing sales page or if you need a newly written, high-converting, done-for-you sales page. Let's make your offer sell easier, attract the right fit people, and make them think, how did she get in my head? Go to the show notes to book your call today or go to my website at whitehousesm.com. So I want you to know that scarcity is completely fine to use, but we should not be using it to create a panic, okay? We're using it to create clarity. We want to be clear with the people that we are working with, the people that are going to join your group program, the people who are going to book a one-on-one time with you or buy your product, that you only have this much time or you only have this much available to give them. And when you are clear about that, yes, it will say to that right person, to the right fit person, look, you better jump on this now because soon it will be gone. Okay? It's okay to do that because you're actually being truthful about it. You're not just conjuring all this hype up just to make as many sales as you want. There's a few additional triggers that I want to talk about just briefly. We won't go into them too much. But here are 3 others that you can use, and here's how to use them in an ethical way. So the first is by using social proof on your sales page. And of course, this doesn't just apply to your sales page. It also applies to the emails that you may send out to people on your website, on your homepage. So social proof would be like testimonials. using case studies, or using stats. So if you're using testimonials, great, use them. It's a great way to show people that you have given others results and a transformation, but use them truthfully, okay? I feel like I shouldn't even have to say this, but unfortunately, there's people out there that construe things, right? So do your best to use the exact words of your client or customer who gave you that testimonial. Sometimes I'll get a testimonial and I might go in and I might, just because the grammar, I might change a word here or there. That's fine to do. I will even take it a step further sometimes. Like if it just needs to be massaged a bit, I'll change a little bit of the words around. But even if I do that, I send it back to my client and I say, hey, look, I made some changes here. Are you okay with this? Do you approve this as your testimonial? So then I get their approval and then I can use that testimonial even though I've massaged the copy a little bit. Okay. We always want it to be truthful. We want someone to be able to say, yes, I said that, or yes, I believe in that. And then case studies. If you've worked with your clients and you want to use them as a case study, that's totally fine to do. But again, don't inflate it. Don't, be truthful about it. Same thing if you use stats and you say, like X amount of clients I have served. Don't say you served hundreds of clients when you've only served 95, right? So don't inflate the statistics. That would be unethical. The next trigger that you can use, and we're going to talk about how you can use it ethically, is using your authority. So this would be positioning yourself as a guide who knows the path and can lead them to their desired result, okay? But what I don't want to see you do here is exaggerate your impact or your reach. So for example, let's say you have a service and you're putting it out there, you're wanting people to buy. Don't say this to get people to buy. Don't say that you're going to open the doors and share your contact list with them when you're actually not going to do so. Okay, so don't say, oh, well, you know what, when you work with me, I'm going to be opening up my list of people to you so you can start your business and have success. Okay, that's kind of a specific example, but just see where I'm going here. Even if you intend to do that, like you can't really control the outcome, right? You can't say, oh, if you work with me, then you're going to have contact with all these people. I'm going to get you all these connections, all these relationships. You could say that there's a potential for that, but don't promise it, right? You just have to be careful about what you promise because you really can't control the outcome of that, right? Like even if I said, oh, if you work with me, I'm going to introduce you to this person and this person. Well, I can introduce you, but I don't know if anything's going to come of that relationship. All right. So I'm bringing this up because I've seen it done before. I've seen people use their authority to say, well, when we work together, I'm going to open up my contacts to you. When it sounds like a promise, people get excited about it. They get this idea that, oh my gosh, my business is going to flourish now, or my product or my offer or my service, whatever I'm selling, it's going to get in front of the eyes of so many people now, but we really can't control if that's going to happen. So just be careful about how you phrase those things. You might want to preface it with, hey, I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so. I can't promise you the outcome, but I can get you the introduction. So do you see where I'm going there? And the next trigger that you can use ethically is what I call future pacing. So this would be helping people imagine what's possible after they say yes, but being truthful about the amount of work that needs to happen and how it is ultimately their responsibility. So this automatically makes me think of when you go to a sales page, you see the headline, the subheadline, and then you should go next into a section where it kind of lists out what your potential client or customer's pain points are. And then the section after that is the section where I would call it the desire section. So this is where you're going to now paint a picture of what their life could look like after they buy your product or your service, your group program, your offer, whatever it is. Now, there's a couple ways that I see this done on a sales page in an ethical way. Let me tell you. Okay, in that block where we say, imagine waking up and now you're blank, blank, blank. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're painting a picture. All right. But again, like what I just said, you have to be careful about making too many promises. So how we counteract having that desire section on your sales page and making sure that those people know, okay, you can reach this, you can have this transformation, but there's also going to be something on your part that needs to happen. So on a sales page towards the end, you should get to like an FAQ section, right? Facts and questions. And that is actually a really great place to answer a question. Like someone might have a question like, can I really go from blank to blank when I join your group program? That could be a question. And then you answer it by saying, yes, you can absolutely have that outcome, but just know that it is your responsibility to do the work of the group program and attend all of the, 6, 7, or 8, whatever virtual sessions, and submit your homework, whatever it is, right? Whatever is involved in that group program, so that you actually get this result. So I guess the unethical way to do this is just to make all these promises that people are going to have all these things without spelling out in your program or your one-to-one personalized, customized service, whatever that is, what's actually needed on their end. So again, this all just goes back to be clear in your copy. Tell people exactly, clearly, truthfully, what they're going to expect or what the expectations are when they work with you or are part of your group program, or what those expectations are even when they buy your product. It makes me think just the other day, like we have an electric bike. My daughter was taking an electric bike to school and it was going to rain. And she's just like, oh my gosh, if I leave it out in the rain, it's not going to work. Okay. Is it actually going to work in the rain or not? I am not a technical person that way, so I can't even actually tell you right now. But if I bought that electric bike, it should say, if it's not going to work in the rain, like it should actually say in the instructions, don't leave it out in the rain, because if you leave it out in the rain, it's not going to work, right? So what I'm getting at again is having clear copy, having the expectations clearly written out so they know what to expect of you and what you expect of them. All right, I know I have talked about a lot today. Here's what I want you to know. After you listen to all of this, that ethical sales puts the well-being of the buyer first. All right, it's about making sure the product, service, or program is truly the right fit before pushing the sale. We don't want to push the sale. We want to sell to the people who are the right fit. So what does this mean sometimes? Sometimes this means being willing to say no. If someone comes to you and let's say you have a group program and you open up some spots right before a cart closes and you say, hey, if you have a question about this, let's go on a Zoom chat and talk about it. And then that person comes on and you talk about it and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, this person is not the right fit for my program. Then the ethical thing to do is to say no and not to say yes just to make the sale. It's not just ethical to tell that person, no, you're not the right fit for this, but it's also strategic, because when we say yes to everyone, then we set ourselves up for higher refunds, support issues, and customers who really aren't thrilled with the results, which is going to give you more headaches. You're going to have people in your programs buying your products that are not aligned, and you're going to have a business that feels heavy instead of energizing. So let's be honest with those potential clients and customers, and let's be honest about ourselves, okay? We want to build trust with people. And hey, when we build trust and connection and we're clear about what we're offering, you know what the result is? They get a great transformation with what you're selling and you get a great testimonial. So it is a win-win. Being ethical in your sales is a win-win. I don't know if you've heard this, but I've heard it. I've heard marketers say right now that we are in what is called a trust recession. So people are more skeptical than ever, and for good reason. All these things I told you, I gave you the unethical example and the ethical example, and it's unfortunate that I even have to talk about it, but there are people that do things unethically. Because of this trust recession, we don't have the luxury of lazy copy tactics, not like we should use them anyways, okay? So let's not use them. Let's be clear and trustworthy. Your buyer who's looking at your sales page, they are filtering everything through this question. They are thinking, can I trust this person with my time? Can I trust them with my energy? And can I trust them with my money? Ethical urgency and scarcity, they answer that question with confidence and not pressure. And they remind your audience that this is about service, because when people trust you, they will buy from you. And then it's so good, they will come back and buy from you again. Thank you so much for listening today. If you want to see what ethical, high converting copy actually looks like and not just hear about it from me, I want you to go to the Yes Vault right now and unlock it. What you're going to find are 3 private short videos that show you examples of what actually works when it comes down to copy. You're going to see examples of low converting copy versus high converting copy. You're also going to get notes from every podcast episode of season 2, including this one. So you're not just getting a little thing of show notes. No, you're actually getting a PDF that gives you the main takeaways and some of the examples from today's episode. You're also going to get the free guest resources from our fantastic guests this season. So go and head over to whitehousesm.com/the Yes Vault, and you can unlock it for just $14 today. Okay, as we are wrapping up, I want you to take a look at your most recent email sequence you sent out or a sales page that you have. And I want you to ask, did I include urgency or scarcity? And did I use it ethically? Did I use it in a real way, or was it just filler? And the way I explained it, does it support trust? Does it allow that person to trust me? Or instead, did I create doubt in their mind? Okay, so pick one trigger, go back to your sales page, possibly use one of those things if you're not using it right now, but make sure that you're using it in a clear and honest way. And when you do, you will see that it will be effective and that you'll see more yeses rolling in your way. So don't forget, buying triggers, they're not bad. They are powerful tools that should be used with integrity. Urgency and scarcity work only when they're real, they're rooted in value, and they are used to support your buyer's decision. And ethical sales is rooted in honesty, transparency, and integrity, and it puts the buyer's well-being before the sale. So thanks for joining me today. Join me next week. I have another hot topic, and I can't wait for you to listen. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of 7-Figure Copy. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star review on your favorite platform and follow me on Instagram for more insights. Can you think of one female entrepreneur or small business owner right now who could benefit from listening to this podcast? Please share this episode with them. And if you're ready to hand off the copy for your website, emails, and sales pages, head over to www.whitehousesm.com to book a complimentary copy chat with me. Let's partner together to take your business to the next level.